Y'all, I am super duper sorry for keeping y'all waiting. Um, we're gonna do a little bit of an emergency stream here, as we talk about some things because it was just breaking, probably about an hour ago. But again, I was editing stuff, and so it's like, well, I gotta finish this up, and I had to get some things squared away with just had to get some things squared away. So sorry we're taking forever to get to this, but this is my reaction to the Pittsburgh Steelers deciding to sign a 1 year contract deal with the man, the myth, the legend, the bad man, Mr. Rodgers. So, my thoughts on this is it's a good pickup. I'm interested to see where the buzz is with the NFL and how, like, I just want to see the predictions. Like, who was it? I don't remember off the top of my head. Someone said the Steelers were going to go 0-6 to start the season. I want to see how they feel now, or if they're kind of just pacing around just a little bit more like, oh boy. Because you can't deny, no matter how much you love or hate Aaron Rodgers, like, let's just look at the QB room and let's just look at who he's surrounded by. Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. Okay? I would take Aaron Rodgers every day of the week over those two. And that's not to say that those two can't play, but it's just how much better are the Steelers going to be in the future? And how much better and more improved will Howard's development, will Mason Rudolph's development be structurally having sat behind Aaron Rodgers for a year? I mean, we're not going to see it now because, I mean, he was thrown into the fire because Rodgers was injured in 2023. But, like, how well is Wilson going to be in Miami? You know, because Wilson sat behind Rodgers for a little bit. Jordan Travis sat behind Rodgers too when he was at the Jets, but he retired from football. We're seeing how well Jordan Love developed sitting behind, Aaron Rodgers, and we want to crown the Packers. And being a Packers fan, it's like, okay, let's pump the brakes. We got to get through the Lions. We got to get through the Lions first if we want to win that division. But, like, we're crowning Jordan Love one of the next great ones. It's like, who'd they sit behind and learn from? Rodgers. And so I think even with 1 year, I definitely think it's going to be an improvement, and it's going to be I think it's going to be good. I don't know. We'll just see. We will just see. I think it's definitely a benefit for the Steelers having a quarterback, because Mason Rudolph, I mean, he's had flashes. He's had flashes just like Ryan Tannehill has had flashes. Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Kenny Pickett for a couple of games. Who else am I thinking of? Where I already said Tannehill. Who else? Maybe Kirk Cousins. Because, like, I feel like Rudolph can give you flashes of, okay, you're a good solid QB, but like that all-star level, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to compare. It's hard for me to compare Mason Rudolph to the Lamar Jacksons and the Joe Burrows and the Mahomeses of the league right now. It's really hard to make that comparison, and that's not to say that he can't get there, but we will just have to see. And I think teaming up Mike Tomlin with Aaron Rodgers is definitely a good thing. Because, I mean, the Steelers, the Steelers and everybody's been really loud about, hey, let's get rid of Mike Tomlin and stuff. It's time for him to go. We need change here. We need a new voice. It's just going to end. Here's the thing. We know this season's they're going to go 9-8. They'll find a way to get to 9-8, or they'll go 10-7, 11. I can say 10-7 probably. Maybe they lose 6 games because they're not going to just to expect like what's the word I'm looking for? Let's ground our expectations here. To expect a Super Bowl first year out of Aaron Rodgers is a lot. I mean, Jets fans, how are we feeling? How were those 2 years? But to expect, because it's a new head coach, it's a new scheme, it's just new teammates, new everything. To expect Rodgers to just come in and change it right away, that's a little too much. That's a little too much to ask. Do I think he is a piece that could help contribute and improve the Steelers in the long run? i.e., get them to be where, okay, free agency, old veterans who are on their way out, guys on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball, they want to come here and play with him. Yeah, I can see that being an improvement and place for things to want to go. Look at Trey Hendrickson, for example. Trey Hendrickson, he's dealing with contract disputes with Cincinnati. What if, he sees, okay, they signed Rodgers. TJ Watt's like, I want to stay here with the Steelers because we got Rodgers for another season, maybe a little bit more, depending on how he plays, because this is going to be an earn it year. This is going to be an earn it contract. What if TJ signs on the dotted line to stay there? And then you bring Trey Hendrickson on board, sign on the dotted line, and he has a 2-3. Like, you see what I mean? Like, Rodgers can pull that. Rodgers is the type of player. Jackson's the type of player. Mahomes is the type of player where people gravitate to wanting to play with those kind of guys. Now, do I think, like, let's address the other elephant in the room. Do I think after Adams signed with the Rams, he's dragged, from LA? No. He signed with LA. I think Stafford's going to be a good QB this year. And Rams, Steelers, I think they meet. Don't they? Hold on, let me double check. I don't know if they meet up in the season. I think that'd be a fun matchup. Hold on, let me pull it up here. But I mean, Stafford's a good QB, so I mean, I still think Adams still has a little bit of more of, not maybe 2-3 more good years. You know what I mean? Because Stafford's a good QB to want to go play with in the dawn of your career. I was thinking dusk dawn. Okay. Let's pull up Steelers. Let's pull up their schedule here. They do not. They do not play the Rams. But again, with just how things go, what if I don't know. Again, I don't know the contracts. Let me look up Adams' contract. Devontae Adams signed a 2-year contract with the Los Angeles Rams in March worth $46 million. Well, what if by trade deadline, the Steelers are winning and the Rams aren't? Okay, what if by week... Again, this is a huge overreaction. But what if by... Let's go to the NFL here. I'm pulling up the Rams schedule. What if what if after that Saints game, and we're, halfway through October, the Rams are coming off of 3 losses in the last 4 games. They lose at the Eagles versus the 49ers and versus the Ravens, and they only have 2 wins. To this point, they're 2-4, 2-5. Would Adams want out before they go play the Jaguars or go play the Saints? I don't know. Again, that's a huge overreaction, but I just want to throw out that little nugget of, maybe if the Rams are losing so much, the pull that Rodgers has, it just brings him out of LA, and then he signs a 1-year deal with the Steelers. I don't know, because that's the sad thing about Adams too, as well with Mac Jones. Gosh, some other players that I'm thinking of. You can see Ramsey's on here too. A little bit of CMC because he was passed around for a little bit, but like some of these veterans that are on their way out, like I still think they can play, but they just keep getting passed around. Who am I thinking of? Tyreek Hill. I still think Tyreek Hill has it, even though statistically he didn't have the best season. But who's to say how long it is before Miami's like, hey, get out of here? Because we know contract talks. Yeah. Anyways, D-Hop's another guy that we have seen get passed around. Isn't he Ravens now? All right. But that's so let's pull up the schedule. Let's pull up the schedule now. Let's look at the schedule for. So the Rams, personally, I think the Rams are going to have a fine season. I don't think it's anything to slouch on. Like, they play the Texans, the Titans, the Eagles, Colts, 49ers, Ravens, Jags, Saints, 49ers, Seahawks, Bucks, Panthers. Okay. I listed way too many teams for you guys to remember, which is totally fine. But I think in my prediction, I had this team winning over 10 games. Like, I really think that they can win a handful of games. The tough stretches are, yes, the Eagles, 49ers, Ravens, and the Lions. They play the Lions way in December. But, like, they have some tough, and there's going to be some growing pains a little bit without Cooper Kupp. But I do think bringing Devontae Adams on board, that's definitely an impact, and a good impact, because replacing the production of Cooper Kupp with Devontae Adams, I think, is absolutely huge for the Rams. And also, in turn, to help develop Puka more as a wide receiver one as we go forward in the league. But, like, I think the Rams are going to have a pretty decent schedule and a pretty decent season. I think the only team that stands in the Rams' way, I'm only bringing them up because of Adams and then Adams' connection to Rodgers. I think the only team that's standing in their way is probably 49ers. 49ers within the division. Like, I think the 49ers are going to bounce back. Cardinals, I could see Cardinals be a quick second, but again, the first 9 games that the Cardinals have, when you look at their schedule, it's a tough schedule. It's one of the toughest schedules in the league. So, all right, let's go to the Steelers here now. I believe, we joke about them going 9-8, and I made a prediction and stuff, and I think, breaking news from Adam Schefter 1 hour ago: Aaron Rodgers plans to fly to Pittsburgh this week and participate in Steelers' mandatory minicamp. Yeah. Wouldn't you know? We've all known it. Hey, once OTAs are over, we'll sign. Like, we've known, but now we get to have fun and take a little victory lap where we talk about it. Because, I mean, with off-season workouts, like, he's not working out with DK Metcalf if he's not going to sign. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Which everybody's going to spin and run with it whichever way they want, which is totally fine. But, so, week 1 at New York, I think that's pretty funny. Like, it has the good makings of fun, good game. A good game, where the Steelers, you can look at it from that point of view, where Steelers did Fields wrong, Jets did Rodgers wrong, where both teams, it's a get back game, where both teams are going against their former team, and then even hell, Steelers do not play the Giants, because I was going to look at it from that approach too, is do the Steelers play the Giants this year for Russell Wilson, because they decided to ship him out of town too. And I think what's going on with the Steelers now too is kind of what the Colts were doing before they drafted Anthony Richardson, which was bringing on veteran guys like Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. Did they bring in Nick Foles too? Like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but like, they just did 1-year deals, and then they drafted Anthony Richardson, and they realized, oh shit, maybe he wasn't, just due to injury, because he's dealing with shoulder stuff. Maybe he wasn't the guy. And so then they bring on Danny Dimes, but then they also, in this draft, drafted Riley Leonard. And I don't know where Sam Ehlinger is, because I know Sam Ehlinger was on the depth chart. We'll find that out later too. But, like, I think that situation that the Colts was doing kind of might be what the Steelers are doing now, where we've seen Pickett, we've seen Rudolph. Who else have the Steelers had a queue? Fields, Wilson, and now here we go with Rodgers. And we'll see if Rodgers is the guy. And definitely, hopefully, fingers crossed, it can be a good development for Will Howard. Because I'm going to call it how I see it. Rodgers is up there in age. That doesn't mean he can't play football anymore, because look how old Brady was when he was winning his last couple Super Bowls. He was older. Like, he was 40 plus. And so I still think, Rodgers can beat Father Time. We've seen that. But Steelers can't give Rodgers 8 years. You know what I mean? Plus, Rodgers doesn't want to play for another 8 years. But who could potentially be there in 8 years? Will Howard. Will Howard could be the next franchise QB for the Steelers, like how Big Ben was. Which, how many years was Big Ben with the Steelers? How long? 18 seasons. 18 seasons. Yep. Like I feel like yeah. I feel like the Big Ben, Manning, Brady, Rodgers, a little bit of Flacco, but when he was with the Ravens. Am I missing someone? Oh shit! Oh shit! I feel like I'm missing someone. Manning, the other Manning, the little brother Manning. I feel like when we watch football, we've watched them with their teams forever. Does that make sense? Like, when I think about the Steelers, I've always thought about Big Ben. Yes. And the Killer Bees with Le'Veon and all them. But, okay, let's look at, let's turn back to the schedule now. My bad, I'm rambling. So they got the Jets. Then they got the Seahawks. At New York, I can see that being a quick win. 1-0 against the Seahawks, 2-0 at the Patriots. I can see this being a tough. Patriots are building something. I think the Patriots have improved their offense. We know about their defense and them bringing some guys on. I believe they signed someone from the Eagles who was on the defensive side of the ball. Vikings. We know the Vikings defense knows how to get after Rodgers, and so that could be a loss. The Browns game. It's in Pittsburgh. So we'll see about that. So going into week 5 against the Browns, I can see them being 4-1, at worst 3-2, because the Steelers defense isn't a slouch. TJ Watt has led sack categories before. And again, with the draw and the attention that Rodgers can bring, if you bring Trey Hendrickson on board too, it just improves the defense that much more. Plus, there's probably some free agents that are still out there that might want to go to the Steelers. Plus, you bring some young guys in like Jack Sawyer. Let's look at some of the. All right. Pat Fryermuth, Connor Hayward. All right. Darnell Washington. Not bad. Let's look at some of the defensive guys. Cameron Hayward, of course. Dean Lowry. Yep. Devin Harper. Highsmith. Patrick Queen, yes. TJ Watt. Darius Slade Jr. Minka Fitzpatrick. There's some dudes on the defensive side of the ball for the Steelers, so you can look at it from that point of view. So yeah. What other big games? At the Bengals, I could see that being a loss. I mean, the Bengals are going to be a solid team. So within the division, the Ravens games are not going to be easy, and the Bengals games are not going to be easy. Not even a little bit. Let's not kid ourselves. So I would not be surprised if we sit and we see, okay, they play the Bengals in October. That's a loss. They play the Bills in November. Whoa, way late in November. That could be a loss. They play the Bills and Ravens back-to-back weeks. I could see a couple losses. Then they play the Lions, and then they play the Ravens. last week of the season. So, truthfully, like, hold on, let me look at something here. If they can split 1-1 with the Ravens and Cincy, and take care of the other non-divisional games like the Seahawks, like the Vikings, like the Packers, like the Colts and Chargers. Um, that's that's a better record than 9-8, and they're gonna probably get a sixth seed or a seventh seed. I don't think I'm not gonna jump all the way and be like, oh, they're going undefeated, baby. They're no. That's again too much to expect um, out of Rodgers in the first year. But like if you win the games that you're supposed to, not in the division, Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, Packers, Colts, Chargers, Bears, Bears, Dolphins, Lions. Like there are a handful of games that are right there for the picking for them to win. Now, big teams in the AFC in their way, obviously. Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Bengals. Yeah, that's about it. Because we know who the best teams are right now. Like the Chargers getting rid of Bosa and the Bills picking him up. That's huge. That's huge for Buffalo's defense. That's huge for just a franchise like this. I don't know how much waves that all of this is going to have, like in the big scheme of things for this season, but it's pretty interesting. Now, one thing that does look fun, that Packers game. That Packers game is going to be a damn good one. He gets to play his former team. I'm interested to see how that one goes. Really interested. Because he hasn't. Packers have not played the Jets yet. Packers have not played the Jets yet. Since he left Green Bay. What would be even crazier is if this game was in Lambeau. That would be so stinking crazy. But it's not. It's not. Man. And you know what's fun too? You know what's real fun too is everybody and their dog. You also can't tell me either. And again, this is all hypothetical. We're all throwing hypotheticals out there and stuff because, this is a fun stream. We're just kind of just shooting the shit talking about Rodgers signing with the Steelers. You cannot tell me that going into this season, defensive coordinators, defensive coaches, defensive guys on the defensive side of the ball, when they've looked at their schedule and go, okay, we're playing for example, the Seahawks. Okay, we're playing the Steelers week 2. You cannot tell me that after hearing this news, guys on the Patriots, the Vikings, the Colts, the Packers aren't going, oh shit, and kind of going, well, okay, now we kind of got to reevaluate and reassess. Okay, we're not playing Mason Rudolph. We're not playing a rookie Will Howard coming off in the national championship. We're gonna play Rodgers. So I don't know. Crazy take. We'll see. Let's go now. Let's see some more stuff. And then we'll end the stream. How about that, people? I know this was the last second stream. I just want to give my thoughts. What's the favorite team? Oh, the Packers. From Derpy, training camp is going to be interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think training camp is definitely because I mean everybody looks good at training camp. Everybody looks because you look at like there's a difference. Hold on, let me take a swig. Baja Blast. It's wonderful. You look at training camp videos, and everybody looks good thrown without football pads, and but what the difference is live game situations and live game reps. Like that's the best way to gauge stuff. And so when we're hearing stuff like let's look at Cam Ward for example. Like I saw an article that's like Cam Ward is at the facility at 6 o'clock in the morning looking at film and throwing, and stuff. That we're doing franchise stuff. That's great, because that's going to get him over the edge. Now, the thing is some of these top guys on the defensive side of the ball. Let's just look at the Steelers, and then let's look at Trey Hendrickson. T.J. Watt doesn't give a shit that you're up at 5 a.m. Because guess what? He's also up at 5 a.m. and he's lifting, or he's also looking at film. And so, what the difference is, it's mentally preparing you, yes, and practice does make perfection. And like the reps do matter, but again, sometimes when it's against air versus, oh wow, look at this. We had a bobbled snap first play of the game, and it was picked up, scoop and score. Now we're down by 6. Where's our mental psyche going into the game? Or like, okay, Rodgers and Fields are potentially probably going to be the starting quarterbacks going into week 1. What's Justin Fields' mentality going to be if on the first play of the game he throws a pick 6 to TJ Watt? And now Steelers are up by 7 in your own barn. Like, all the practice and all the reps you did against the air, like as good as it was to get the mechanics down and perfect it in the offseason, now all of that is thrown out the window because it's like, whoops, there was a missed timing, and now we're seeing the back of TJ Watt's jersey running all the way to the house, and we're down 6-0 now. So it's good, but we have to kind of take it. I would say take it in stride. Take it in stride, because training camp is not the Super Bowl. Training camp is not playoff games. Does it improve and help going into the regular season? Yes, but it's not like you can be the best training camp guy there is, but then after the preseason's over, we've seen cuts. We've seen 53-man roster cuts, and some guys don't make it. So, yeah, training camp's interesting. Training camp is very interesting. Like we look at let's look at some with that. I mean, you look at the Saints QB room, you look at the Giants QB room, you look at the Browns QB room, you can look at the Steelers QB room. Like you got Jackson Dart, you got Jameis Winston, and you got Russell Wilson. I would say like there is a good chance all 3 of them are going to go into the season and make the 53-man roster. But like you look at the Saints with Tyler Shuck, Heiner, and Spencer Rattler. Like I can't say the same thing. Like I'm thinking, yeah, maybe they cut one guy so that they can bring Kenny Pickett on from the Browns or something. Even if Rattler or Heiner or Taysom Hill was tearing it up in minicamp, like it doesn't, and like we see it now with the Browns, where okay, Dylan Gabriel can be completing every single pass, Joe Flacco can be completing every single pass, but it's not going to matter because at the end of the day, hey, we might actually need because one of our linebackers or one of our safeties, they're dealing with a foot injury. We need to, but we can't cut him because we have him on a 4-year deal. We need to make some room because he's going to be sitting our first 4 games. We need to, use one of our 53-man spots to have a backup for him, and then there goes Kenny Pickett's job, or Dylan Gabriel's job, or Shador Sanders, or Joe Flacco's job. That's the reality of what football is, because they have to cut it down from a 53-man roster. Now, I don't know the rule on practice squads and practice squad guys, but that's why, yeah, training camp is good, definitely interesting. But again, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees in the NFL. Thank you for the comment, though. We'll see. We'll see. Do I think there's going to be a QB competition for the Steelers? Maybe for a day and a half. Maybe for a day and a half. Maybe for a week and a half. Because Rodgers is that dude. He is. Whether you love him or you hate him, Rodgers is that dude. Same, so... And there's a reason. There's a reason why the Steelers brought him on board. Because I think Mike Tomlin can see the writing on the wall, too, on, we've kind of been, we've seen our playoff success. If we can't get it done, I might be out of a job. I'm a really good coach, but I might be out of a job because of our playoff wins. So I think knowing that, you bring a guy like Rodgers in, you bring a guy like Joe Flacco in, you bring a guy like, who are some veterans who are on their way out, who have had playoff success. I can't say Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, or Jackson because they're with their teams. They're going to stay on their teams because they're in their primes. But yeah, crazy thoughts. But that's just my crazy thought on that. That is just my crazy thought on that. Okay, people on the shorts end, let's check the polls. You guys said good move. That was the outstanding vote. It was a good move, okay? But we're going to do a hard out here, so people on the shorts end, we will see you later.